What's going on, guys? We're back, and I'm going to, in this video, tell you about growth loops. It's a sick video, and it's a sick concept, and if you figure this out, it will allow you to stand up any business that you want, any new business line within your business, and it's really important to understand. I'm using this really cool tool called Miro, which allows you to whiteboard ideas and mind map and all this cool stuff. So let's get into it. So you can see here I have this line. This is the growth loop line. And on the left side, we've got nothing right here. And on the right side, we've got something. In this case, something means, let's say, a lead generation system that consistently books meetings with your ideal prospects so you can close deals and scale your agency. Fine. And nothing means where you are now, probably, which is trying to, sending email blasts and getting, 1 out of 10,000 people to reply back saying unsubscribe. So that's what we're working with over here, right? Right now you're here, you're sending email blasts and getting 1 out of 1,000 people to reply back saying unsubscribe. And what you want is a lead generation system that's going to consistently book meetings for you with your ideal customers so you can scale your agency. Great. So how do you go from left to right? So this is where the growth loop comes in. Cold outreach is a series of iteratively banging your head against the wall over and over again until you break through and you actually find an email that you can send that gets open, interested replies, meetings booked, blah, blah, blah. A cold call strategy that gets people to pick up the phone and all these things. It's hard to go from 0 to 1. Oftentimes in life and in business, we look at where we are and where we want to be, and there's this massive gap in between, right? And this gap prevents us from achieving what we want to do, because instead of focusing on the little bits we can take, the little steps to get here, to here, to here, to here, right? Instead of focusing on how do I go to here? Okay, now how do I go to here? How do I go to here? How do I go to here? We think about how do I go from here to here, and I'm so far away, I'm screwed, woe is me. So what this process does is it breaks the step up into multiple different stages, and you actually can loop through. If you fail at any point, you can loop back and try again. So let's actually go through and talk about the stages of the growth loop. So the first stage, I'm going to use cold calling as an example, and I'm going to actually focus on cold calling in this course because cold calling is the fastest way, and for many of you who are selling to local businesses, cold calling is actually the fastest way to go 0 to 1, to get people on the phone. There's no faster way to get feedback than picking up the phone, calling a prospect, pitching them, and hearing how they respond, listening to their objections, listening to their tonality. That's the fastest way to get market feedback. It's easy to hide behind the screens and emails. Nothing more raw and nothing faster than cold calling, and it's the best way to do it, in my opinion. If you want a cold email boot camp, we can talk, but this is about getting you to a successful point fast, and cold calling is the best way to do it. And by the way, a lot of your niches probably don't check their email if you're selling to local businesses. So in that case, you really shouldn't be emailing anyway. Anyway, let's keep going. So the first stage of a cold call growth loop, just to make it simple, is going to be reach rate, okay? Reach rate. Your reach rate should be about, let's say, 7 to 12. Well, the minimum you should be having is like 7%. Ideal is 10% plus for reach rate, okay? Let me make it a bit smaller. Boom. So that's step 1. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to want to get people to, let's say, let you, if you want to really break it down, you could say reach to book rate. But there's other steps in the growth loop. You could say opener, reach to conversation, right? With your opener. How often do they let you pitch, right? So this could be, I don't actually know what the metric is here. I haven't broken this down. I would say probably if you're at like 1/3 to let's say 50% for this. I don't know. We'll just put a number out there. 50%. So at least this is probably about right. At least half of the people that you reach should let you have a conversation. Now, out of those people that you have a conversation with, let me think about this for a second. So once you're in a conversation, your conversation to book rate, right, should be about 60%. So of the conversations that you have, you should be getting a little more than half of them to book a meeting. Now, you have another stage in the growth loop, which is your book to show rate. So I can call this show rate should be 70%. Meaning out of the meetings you set, if you book 10 meetings, you should have 7 of them show up. And then out of your qualification, out of your show rate, you should have a qualification rate of at least 80%. Right? Because you're doing outbound. So you should really be pre-qualifying these people before you reach out to them. So the odds of them not being qualified are pretty low. It's one of the benefits of outbound. And then your close rate on a qualified deal depends how good you are at closing, but I'm not the best closer in the world. I'm better at prospecting. If you want closing advice, talk to Jody or Josh Koenigsberg. Let's say your close rate's 33%. That's what I would say. They might be able to do better than me, but that's what I would say. Great. So there's multiple steps here in this growth loop, and what you want to do is you want to try and like go through here and then loop back around at any point if you get stuck, and then loop back around, 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 and you get the picture. I'm doing pretty bad loops here, but who cares? Boom, and now you're in this zone over here. So I'm going to go through some of the common problems that can happen in each stage of the growth loop. And if you can get through each stage, right, you'll get to the point where it goes from being this massive task to go from here to here. It all of a sudden becomes broken down in these little chunks that you can actually measure. And it's easier to chew. It's easier to figure out. It's easier to experiment on. It's easier to iterate. It's easier to succeed.